Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Commerce Diaries. In the today's video, we are going to learn the concept of the Journal Paper 1, that is the concept of research and its characteristics. This is a very important concept in our paper 1. You can definitely expect the questions from this concept in your examination. Okay, so let us understand this concept. First, concept of research. The term research comprises of two words, namely re and search. If you look at this word a research, we can see it has a two bifurcation in the word, that is the re and search. Generally, re means again and search means to find out. Means if we are doing any kind of the investigation on already done activity, that we will treat it as the research. Okay, this is an important point over here. Next, it is the structured inquiry that utilizes the acceptable scientific methodology to solve the problem. As it is the research, it is the scientific inquiry because it includes a systematic process, that is the step by step process, and it creates a new knowledge. If we are doing any kind of the research on the particular problem, that means our motto is to gain a new knowledge or to add up a new knowledge in already existing knowledge. That is the generally applicable. The inquiry is aimed at understanding a things or a phenomenon to solving a problem. Here we are adding a new knowledge in our existing knowledge, as well as we are trying to get the solution over those particular problem. Okay, then the search for the facts need to undertaken systematically and not the arbitrarily. Means every research has a systematic process to follow its investigation. We just can't rely on the any arbitrary method. We just can't follow any unsystematic method. This will give an inaccurate result for our research. The systematic approach to research enables the research to search a facts in a rational manner. That means if systematic study will give us a rational result and arrive at a rational conclusions, whereas the arbitrary approach attempt to find the solution of the problem based on the one beliefs and imagination. As we are following a structurized process for our research, that means we will get our definite and rational conclusion. If we are following the arbitrary method, we just can't rely on the one particular person's assumptions or imagination. This will give an inaccurate result that we can't treat as a research. Okay, then next, the research method consists of the systematic observation, classification, and the interpretation of the data. In our research study, the data plays an important role. So these are the important factors relating to the research, that we should observe carefully our data, then we have to classify it properly, and then we should interpret the data which we have collected. Research is a basically scientific in nature. It is a scientific because it follows the systematic procedure to provide an objective which is an unbiased. This is also important point. Our objectives and our way of finding anything, it should be unbiased. We just can't rely on the one particular bias thing. No, we should keep aside our personal biasness while we are conducting any kind of the research. There is nothing like a unscientific research approach, even in case of the social sciences. Even if we are doing the social science research, we will follow the systematic steps only. So here are some key points. So the research is a process of the inquiry or the investigation. It is a systematic and methodological, as it follows the definite steps, so it will be a methodological. Then it increases the knowledge. Every research added in any information in the existing knowledge or existing information. So this was the concept of the research. Now let us look into the characteristics of the research. Scientific method. The research uses the scientific method to find a facts or to provide the solution to the scientific problem. As we seen, a research is the process and it is a systematic process, so it follows the scientific method in the any kind of the research. The researcher need to follow the systematic and specific procedure to conduct the research. There is a set of systematic procedure that have been tested over a period of the time, and thus it is suitable to the research. If we are doing any kind of the research, we will follow the predefined steps in our research. We just can't skip those steps, or we just can't take any kind of the shortcut in our research study. This means each step in the research procedure must follow the other. Then next, objectivity. It means a research study should be unbiased. All other characteristics are built around it. The researcher usually take a utmost precautions that the results are not affected by its own presence. Means researcher should be a bias in a nature. He just can't rigorously put his own assumptions on that, and he just can't take any predefined result based on his biasness. So the research should be avoided any biasness in his activities. Then next, they critically examine the research method to avoid the biasness. Okay, means researchers should follow such kind of the steps and the procedure which will avoid the biasness in the research activity. The research is based on the valid procedures and the principles. The research need to collect a relevant, accurate and objective data to investigate into the research problem. From this feature, you can expect a questions. You can treat it like it is a PYQ term. If in the examination, if you will find any kind of the statement like a research is a subjective activity or research is in a subjective nature, that will be a wrong statement. Research must be objective in nature always. If it is any type of the research, it will be a objective only. Then next, logical. The scientific research is objective and the logical in nature. As the research is the critical examination, it will include the logic. The research is based on the valid procedure and the principle. There is a need to collect the relevant, accurate and objective data to investigate into the research problem. Researchers need to make every possible effort to avoid the biasness in the data collection. After the collection of the objective data, the researcher need to systematically process the data, analysis and improve it to arrive at a logical conclusion. In the research procedure, collection of the data, it is not only a sufficient thing to reach out any conclusion or to reach out a solution to any problem. Researcher must think logically, and he should represent and interpret his data, which will give a logical conclusion after the research procedure. Then next, empirical in nature. Here the word empirical or the term empirical, it is important. The research can be based on the direct experience. Empirical means the study which is based on the experience or the observation. Okay, the empirical research is undertaken to study a certain situation or the event based on the experience, observations and the survey. In the empirical research, the researcher develop a hypothesis then collect the data to prove and disapprove it. Empirical nature means a researcher, when he is performing his research activity or he is investigating anything, he will conclude certain things on the based on this his personal experience. So on that he will take assumptions, and he will try to either prove those assumptions or either disapprove those assumptions. So those kind of assumptions we will call it popularly as the hypothesis. Then next, generalization. This is also one of important feature or characteristics of the research. The research finding can be applied to the larger population. A researcher can conduct a research on the sample of the respondent that represented the universe. For example, if any researcher doing any kind of the research activity, he will face a certain limitations over his the data collection or the sampling technique. If there is a one universe, then he will select a certain type of the population from as a sample. Okay, so he will do the experiment on that particular sample study, then he will reach out to the conclusion and he will generalize that conclusion to the whole population, which will arrive at the right solution over the problem. The sample selection must be done systematically so that properly represented the whole population and the universe. Means the any result which are giving a accuracy on the sample, that should give the generalized result on the whole population also. Now here another characteristics, that is the reliability. This is also an important characteristics. You can expect the question from here also. Reliability in the context of the research is a consistency. Reliability means a consistency. It refers to the extent to which the investigation produced the consistent result. It can also termed as a verifiability. In the any research in the yield manner, the research result is the time, and then it is undertaken with the similar population in the given context and with the similar procedure. It is said to be a reliable research. So reliability means it is the consistency. If we are using any kind of the research or method in the various problem, that should give a same and consistent result in the every aspect. For example, if we are taking the example of any disease, we are using any medicine for that disease, that medicine should give the consistent result over the period of the time. It shows the reliability over here. Then next, this is also an important characteristics of the research. Validity. Here the validity in the research mainly stands for the accuracy of the procedure and the research instrument test, etc. Validity means that the research must be unbiased and free from the systematic error, as these may impact on the applicability of the research. Without validity, the research goes in the wrong direction. The research should be a valid. It has the accuracy, whether we are finding the conclusion or we are arriving at the solution to the problem, that solution and that conclusion must be a valid. Generally, validity is termed to be a more important than the reliability. Here, this statement is very important. It is a one of PYQ statement. You can put a star over here, right? The validity is termed to be a much more important than the reliability. To keep the research on the right track, It must be that the concepts are defined and the best possible manner so that the no errors should occur in the measurement. Validity shows the accuracy in the research, that our research should be uh, accurate and it should not face any kind of the error in our conclusion. Then next, control factors. In the real life experience, there is always more than a one factor that affects and the outcome of the events. Means when we are doing any kind of the research, the one factor will affect the another, one factor will shows the result on the other factor. Similarly, the research varies, the factor may affect the outcome and the some are taken as a control factors, whereas the other are tested for the possible outcome. In the pure research, the research is a very easy to control a certain factors in the lab experiment. For example, if we are doing any kind of the scientific research, we can easily control a few factors. We can control the effect which we will occur on the other factors. We have a right to manipulate those kind of the results. That means we can control that type of the variables or the factors. However, it is difficult to perform and control the laboratory experiment in case of the social sciences. There are a certain type of the research where we can't control few factors. These are the uncontrollable at a researcher's point of view. Although the limited extent of the laboratory experiment are possible in the social science as well. Okay, so in the scientific research we can control a few factors, but in case of the social sciences there are some type of research which where we cannot control the factors. Then cyclical process, as the research is the process or as a research follow are certain steps. The research is the cyclical process because it starts with the problem and it ends with the problem. Okay, means as we see, means again and search means to find. Continuous finding of anything or continuous study of the any particular problem, which shows the cyclical and continuous process. The every research gives to birth to another problem that turns into the another research. As a researcher is facing a certain limitations over his study, so that limitation will come up with the new problem and that new problem will give a birth to the new research. Then next, accuracy. Accuracy measures whether the research tools have been selected is the best possible manner and the research procedure suits to the problem or not. Accuracy means any kind of the tools which we are selecting, whether it is suitable for our research study or not, that shows our correctness and the accuracy in our research study. So all these are the characteristics and the features of the research. This concept is important from our examination point of view. If you like this video, if you find this video useful for your preparation, then don't forget to like this video. Let us do know in the comment section and also subscribe to my channel. We will meet in the next video. Till then, have a great day. Thank you.